one signature, one stamp. America began building the most powerful military headquarters the world had ever seen. It covers 29 acres, has 17 miles of corridors, and was built in 16 months. See how that was possible.
I've documented construction projects on every continent, but standing in front of this building, Anne, you feel something different. You feel history pressing against you.
1941. America wasn't yet at war, but the drumbeats were louder. The US War Department was running out of room. The War Department was scattered across 17 buildings, a military machine trying to operate without a brain. Congress approved it in 72 hours. The fastest military construction authorization in American history. The original plan placed it at Arlington Farm, until President Roosevelt intervened to save the Lincoln Memorial View. Roosevelt redirected the project south to a site nobody wanted, a flood plain, a swamp, a dump. What they turned it into, in just 16 months, remains a remarkable construction achievement in modern history.
This is what they started with. Not bedrock, not flat ground, a flood-prone wasteland that had been used as a garbage dump for 30 years.
The man given this impossible task was Brigadier General Brehon Somerville, a man who measured deadlines not in months, but in weeks. Architect Bergstrom and his team worked 96 hours straight, producing the first complete Pentagon design entirely by hand. The five-sided shape wasn't artistic. It was a practical solution to the awkward five-road intersection at the original Arlington farm site. The concentric ring design meant no office was more than 7 minutes from any other. For a military headquarters, that wasn't a luxury. It was tactical necessity. Ground was broken. September 11th, 1941, exactly 60 years before a different September 11th would scar this same building forever. After Pearl Harbor, the workforce grew to 15,000. 3 shifts ran around the clock. No weekends, no Christmas. The first challenge wasn't engineering, it was the ground. 5.5 million cubic yards of unstable fill and swamp material. All of it had to go. In the first 4 weeks, workers removed 680,000 cubic yards of earth. No GPS, no computerized controls. Every cut was made by a man reading the land with his own eyes. 13,000 workers sourced from across Virginia, assembled in days, the way only a wartime nation could build a workforce. The soil tests came back worse than feared. 40 feet of unstable peat and soft clay, far too weak to carry a building of this size. The solution was radical, a distributed pile foundation. 41,492 concrete pilings driven into the ground, over 41,000 piles, each hammered to refusal until the ground could accept no more force. It took 4 months. As piling completed, the foundation mat pour began, continuous, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 5 on-site concrete batching plants fed the pour. At peak, 1 cubic yard every 60 seconds. No concrete pumps in 1941. Everything moved by hand and chute. The foundation alone consumed 680,000 tons. Foundation complete, December 1941. The same week, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. The Pentagon's urgency changed overnight.
Right now, under where I'm standing, there are still 41,000 concrete buildings driven 25 feet into the Virginia clay.
43,000 tons of structural steel, sourced from Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, delivered by a rail siding built directly to the site. The iron workers of 1941 worked without harnesses, without full protection. Casualties were accepted as a cost. It was a different era. The Pentagon was built in 5 separate sections, 1 per side, letting different crews work simultaneously on all 5 faces. Every week, master surveyors checked all 5 sections stayed aligned. 1 deviation would create a structural mismatch at the junction points. 5 concentric rings, A through E, connected by 10 radial corridors. The same floor plan repeated on all 5 floors. Finishing work began on lower floors, before upper floors were even framed, occupied at the bottom while still being built at the top. Steel was rationed. Architects replaced steel window frames with wood, steel reinforcement with concrete walls. Indiana limestone, the same stone in the Empire State Building and National Cathedral, one of America's most prestigious building materials. Each panel cut to size at the quarry and delivered in sequence. No storage space on the cramped site for excess material.
This stone came from Indiana. Thousands of tons of it. Limestone was the one premium material they did not substitute.
These were some of the most skilled masons in America. Setting stone at this pace, without modern lifting equipment, was an extraordinary feat. Over 15,000 workers on site simultaneously. Feeding them alone required 3 cafeterias around the clock. Site cafeterias served 35,000 meals a day, including a dedicated night shift menu. Construction never paused for mealtimes. Construction ran through the brutal winter of 1941 and 1942, temperatures below zero. The war allowed no seasonal pause. Most of the 15,000 workers were never named in any official record. Their contribution exists only in the building itself. Below the main floors, boiler rooms, electrical switchgear, telephone exchanges, and a pneumatic tube mail system connecting the entire building. The Pentagon's electrical load exceeded the entire city of Charlottesville. A dedicated on-site substation was built to supply it. 184 miles of plumbing pipe. Restrooms for 35,000 daily, but due to Virginia's 1941 segregation laws, shamefully designed as separate facilities. Secretary Stimson ordered the segregation signage removed, quietly defying state law. But the separate facilities were built. They existed. Plastering, painting and flooring 17 miles of corridors required a dedicated workforce of over 3,000 finishing trades workers. The corridor floors were terrazzo, marble chips in cement, polished smooth, chosen for durability. The 5-acre central courtyard was engineering as much as aesthetics. A light well for the interior rings and a ventilation core for the whole building. 19 escalators and 13 passenger elevators, among the largest single elevator installations in any American building at that time. 131 stairways throughout the building, ensuring no section was ever more than one flight from multiple exits. The communications infrastructure was classified from day one. 13,000 handsets on a dedicated exchange with its own separate cable routes. 7,748 single-glazed wood-framed windows, a deliberate steel-saving measure that required complete replacement in the 1990s. The roof, 5.1 acres, was applied in sections as each floor completed below, sealing the building through Virginia winters. 500 miles of ductwork, sheet metal contractors built temporary fabrication shops directly on site just to keep up with demand. Month by month, aerial photographs showed transformation that seemed impossible. A swamp, a foundation, a skeleton, a building. The limestone facade, 485,000 square feet, was complete by November 1942, 14 months after ground was broken. As interior finishing continued, landscape crews planted the grounds that would eventually surround the building with mature trees and formal gardens. Some trees planted in 1942 still stand on the Pentagon grounds, 80 years old, living witnesses to the building's birth. The corridor signage system let any of 35,000 occupants find their location within 30 seconds, every point given a unique 5-character code. 6 cafeterias capable of serving 35,000 meals per day, more food service capacity than many American cities in 1942. The final punch list, December 1942. 5,700 items documented and resolved in the project's last 6 weeks. 4 months after breaking ground, the Pentagon was 40% complete. No construction project in American history had moved this fast. The first occupants moved in April 29, 1942, while construction was still actively happening on floors above them. Officers worked at desks, while concrete was poured directly above their heads, separated by a single layer of temporary plywood. The war room was built simultaneously with the rest, its design modified almost weekly as wartime requirements evolved. By mid-1942, real military operations were being planned inside, while workers still laid floor tiles 30 meters away. A basement road network allowed military vehicles and supplies to move without ever appearing at surface level. The on-site 15 kilovolt substation was one of Virginia's largest private power installations, enough to supply a city of 50,000. January 15, 1943, 16 months after ground was broken, The Pentagon was complete and fully occupied, on time, under budget. The workforce dispersed in January 1943, some to other projects, some to military service. An extraordinary task quietly finished. The original blueprints, 2.5 million square feet of drawings produced in 4 days, are now held in the National Archives. The match between original drawings and built reality is remarkable. Discipline from a team that had no room and no time for deviation. Somerville's inspection lasted 4 hours. He signed the completion certificate and left. No public statement. Within days, 35,000 personnel were coordinating the most complex military operation in American history from inside this building. Operation Overlord, D-Day, was planned within these walls. The building that was a swamp in 1941 shaped the outcome of World War II. The Pentagon survived the war. The same could not be said for millions of the people whose fates were decided inside it. In the decades after, the Pentagon became the nerve center of the Cold War, fought not with armies, but with intelligence, technology, and the constant threat of annihilation. Some men who built the Pentagon were drafted within weeks of finishing it. They built America's headquarters, then went to fight in the war it commanded.
What emerged from that swamp was not just an office complex, it was a declaration. America had the will, the means, and now the headquarters. Look at this wall. Limestone set by hand, in the cold, under a wartime deadline. Every joint, still tight. Every face, still clean. 80 years, and the stone still looks like this. That's not good construction. That's craft that outlasted the men who created it. Every window opening hand-cut by masons who knew their craft. No shortcuts on the exterior. It was the face America would show the world. The night shifts never stopped. Through rain, through cold, through the knowledge that the war they were building for was already killing people. October 1942. None of the men in this photograph have been identified. Their names were never recorded by the government that hired them. A stake in a swamp, and a deadline that could not be argued with. 16 months for 6.5 million square feet is not fast. It is almost physically impossible, and yet it happened. When Congress inspected the completed building in February 1943, several members were reportedly speechless. This terrazzo was laid in 1942. 80 years of generals, presidents, and secretaries of state have walked across it. In 1943, the Pentagon's telephone exchange handled more daily calls than any single civilian building in America. The map rooms were where abstract strategy became reality. Colored pins representing real battalions, real ships, real lives. The basement road network let military vehicles and classified materials move without ever surfacing. Small milestones were quietly celebrated. A pause. Then work resumed, because work always resumed. The first flag over the completed Pentagon flew January 1943. The building would guide a war that lasted another 2.5 years. 17.5 miles of corridors, 5 floors, 5 rings, 10 spokes, 284 restrooms, 691 water fountains, offices for 35,000 people. From completion, the Pentagon ran at full capacity immediately. The war demanded it. There was no settling in period. D-Day. 156,000 troops, 6,939 vessels, 11,590 aircraft. All of it coordinated from a building that was a swamp 3 years before. VE Day, May 8, 1945. The building that helped win Europe stood unchanged, already preparing for the Pacific. The war ended. The Pentagon did not. It was built not for one war, but for whatever came after. Korea, Vietnam, the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Cold War. 80 years of conflict processed from within these 5-sided walls. Between 1993 and 2011, the Pentagon was stripped to its structural frame. Every system rebuilt from scratch. The Penn-Ren Renovation installed 100 miles of fiber optic cable, new HVAC, and security measures the original architects never imagined. September 11, 2001. An aircraft struck the Pentagon, the same building whose construction began on September 11, 1941. 184 people died that day. The frame held, the rings held, the building stood. Rebuilt in 11 months, the damaged section restored with matching Indiana limestone, honoring the original craftsman. The stone matches so precisely you cannot find the seam. The building would not show the scar. The Pentagon Memorial, opened 2008, 184 benches, 184 names, on the exact ground where the aircraft struck. At night, 184 memorial benches glow on the grounds of a building begun on the same date that killed the people they commemorate. 6.5 million square feet. More office space than the Empire State Building. Built in 16 months. From above, the Pentagon looks exactly as it did in 1943. Permanence was always the intention. Pentagon workers have always called the central courtyard Ground Zero, a dark joke that speaks to this building's place in the world. From a swamp, 4 days of sketches, 16 months of labor, one of the most recognizable buildings on Earth. Not one man in this photograph has ever been identified. They built the most powerful military headquarters in history and were forgotten by it.
I've spent months inside this building for this documentary, and I still can't fully grasp the scale. Subscribe for more.